Hey guys! So today I have my February / middle of January haul to share with you guys. I got 20 books, which is still a lot. This is only part of them, but I am so excited to share them with you all. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first book that I'm going to show you is actually one of my latest pickups, and that is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This book is about Ellingham University. It's about Ellingham Academy in Vermont, and it was where the best and brightest students went, but Ellingham, the tycoon that started the academy, when his wife and daughter go missing, the only thing that is left behind is a list of possible ways to commit murder, and it is signed Truly Devious. Now, years later, Stevie is a brand new student at Ellingham Academy, and she is determined to solve this cold case. I absolutely love the way that this book sounds. I'm really excited to dig into it. I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and there's been a lot of good things. So I am really looking forward to diving into this one ASAP. The next book is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Now, this book was on sale at Barnes & Noble, obviously, from the sale sticker. But this book is about a guy that somebody abducts him and asks him, were you happy with your life? Are you happy with your life? And those are the last words that Jason hears before he wakes up on a gurney, surrounded by strangers, and suddenly his life is not what he thought it was. His wife is not his wife, his son was never born, and he's kind of struggling, trying to figure out, is this life the reality, or is the life that I remember having the reality? So this sounds deeply psychological, super thriller, and I'm very excited to get into it. And then the last book of the 3 that I picked up, I think just yesterday, is The Queen's Rising by Rebecca Ross. This is about Brianna, and when she turns 17, she is to have mastered her passion and find a Patreon. A Patreon. Wow, I spend too much time on YouTube. A patron. But when her 17th birthday rolls around, she does not have a patron, and like this mysterious man decides to become her patron, and just a whole lot of political and dangerous and mysterious things start happening to Brianna, and she's kind of just sucked into the middle. This definitely sounds like my kind of fantasy, where there is a lot of fantasy elements, but it is kind of rooted in like what I would consider more realistic turmoil, I guess. I'm really excited about this one. I haven't heard as much. I believe I saw Haley in Bookland read this or maybe talk about it, but I just had to pick this one up because I've seen it and it keeps like nagging me at Barnes & Noble, so I finally picked it up. Now, the rest of these I got from McKay's because McKay's is amazing, and I don't know how you all survive without McKay's. I'm sure you all have like half-price books and places like that, and I'm sure they are lovely. I am just personally biased towards McKay's. But this next one is Keep Her Safe by Sophie Hannah, and this is about a girl that she is like the most famous abductee of a murderer, but it turns out she may not actually be dead. What? I love the way that this book sounds. I do actually like books about people that are famous or famous for the wrong reasons. And this sounds like it would be right up my alley. Plus, I think it was like $2. So it seems like a no-brainer. This next one, and I totally forgot that I got this one at Barnes & Noble too, because I normally do not shop there this often within a month. But I had to get The Au Pair by Emma Rowe. If you all watch my January ARC video, which I do believe is coming out next week or in the next few days, I haven't decided yet, you will get a more in-depth review of what I thought about this book. But it is a thriller, it is fantastic, and I totally suggest that anybody that has not read it, that is a murder mystery thriller fan or domestic thriller, you definitely have to read this one. So this next one was actually a recommendation from Alan's grandfather, and that is The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Tom Gordon by Stephen King. This is about a little girl that she is on a hike with her family, but very quickly decides that she would be better off wandering around by herself. Well, not surprisingly, she gets lost, and instead of freaking out like any other normal small child would, she decides to turn her radio to a old broadcast of the Boston Red Sox, and it was when the relief pitcher Tom Gordon was playing. And as the radio signal fades, she kind of imagines that Tom Gordon is there trying to help her get out of this sticky situation. I don't really know if this is considered like horror, thriller, whatever, but it's super short, and Alan's grandfather assured me that I would love it. So I definitely was really excited when I saw it for a couple bucks at McKay's, because I do want to read this soon and tell Alan's grandfather what I thought about it. And I actually have another Stephen King in this haul, and this was actually a recommendation from Frida, my mother-in-law, Alan's mom, and that is From a Buick 8 by Stephen King. This is about a troop of guys that they find an old beat up clunker car, but when they bring it back to the fort, I guess, when they bring it back to the barracks with them, they find out that the car is not just a car, that there's a lot bigger meaning to this car. Now, Frida assures me that this is nothing like Christine, even though it is sounding a little similar to Christine. She said that this is not really like a horror novel. She said that this was more sad. So I guess I'm pretty interested to see what differences it has and tell her what I think. This next book is actually by the same author of Lies We Told, which I reviewed back in, I think, either October or November, and that was Camilla Way. This is Watching Edie, and this is about a girl that she kind of has it all in like high school and like in her 20s and whatever, but now she's in her 30s, she's pregnant, and she's alone working as a waitress. So when she thinks that she's finally just hit her breaking point and her life is too overwhelming and she can't handle everything, all of a sudden this person that she thought was no longer in her life just kind of swoops in and shows her just what the perfect friend they could be. This sounds really creepy. I think that sounds super stalkerish. Really excited to see what this book is like. If it's anything like The Lies We Told, I will absolutely love it. I loved The Lies We Told, and this is one of her earlier works, so I'm really excited. So this next one is Girl Last Seen by Nina Lauren. And this is about a girl that she sees a missing girl like poster, I guess. It has all of the description of the girl, of where she was last seen, and our main character is like, okay, so whoever stole me all those years ago apparently has finally decided to steal another girl because she fits the guy's type, or the person's type. Like, what? Just reading the synopsis, that already threw me for a loop, that the main character was once one of these girls that was kidnapped. So I can't wait to see what the rest of this book is about. I've literally never heard of this book, but it was at McKay's for I think $1.50. And it just sounded too good not to try. So this next one, if you watch Pages and Pins, you will have heard of this book, and not in a favorable way. And that is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is about a girl that her best friend is going to be taken by the dragon to be his wife, and the dragon is notorious for like killing off his wives. So instead, the main character, whose name I'm going to pronounce as Gesundheit because I cannot pronounce that, she barters with the dragon to have him take her instead. I'm fairly interested to see if I like this book. It was $1, so I had to get it. Just because I'm curious to see if I think the same as Julie, or if there's something that I enjoy that maybe she didn't, or honestly, just to see what she fusses about. So this next one, I don't know how to pronounce the author's name. It's Jussi Adler-Olsen, and it is The Keeper of Lost Causes. And this is about a detective that he was in a tragic event where two of his fellow cops were shot and killed, so he blames himself for his friends dying. So it is kind of weird when his department promotes him, but he gets sent to the Q department, which is literally just the department of him, to preside over all of the cold cases. And I get the feeling that some of these cold cases may not be as cold as they seem. I have seen, I believe Crime by the Book recommended a later book in this series. I don't think she's talked about this one. If she has, it's been years ago, but this is more Scandinavian thrillers. So apparently I'm just collecting them all just because she says to. Next one is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This basically sounds like The Breakfast Club plus a murder, and I am all about that. I love The Breakfast Club as a movie, and it's got all the stereotypes: the jock, the weirdo, the outcast, like it's got them all. So this one sounds really interesting, and I do think that this would be a quick read for me. I had to pick it up because this is a brand new book. Like, I think this book came out this year. Oh, 2017. It came out, well, technically 2 years ago. Anyway, it came out in 2017, so it's relatively new, and it was like $5. So of course I'm gonna grab it and see what the hype is about. The next one I feel like may have been a mistake for me to grab because I normally do not like short stories, but I get the feeling that this one's not gonna be like short stories. And that is Rogues by George R.R. Martin and Gardner Dozois. This is a collection of short stories that are fantasy based, and it's got people like Gillian Flynn, Patrick Rothfuss, Neil Gaiman, Joe Abercrombie. I mean, how could you go wrong? This next one is The Passenger by Lisa Lutz. I don't know a whole heck of a lot about this book. I just know that the main character is on the run because I guess her husband is dead at the bottom of the lake. But the twist is that she's on the run again. So like, I'm trying to figure out what the first one was, but I've heard a couple people talk about this book. I've actually heard a couple people in like my personal life talk about this book. Pretty interested to get into this one. Again, it was a couple dollars, so I just went ahead and picked it up. So the next one is Woman Number 17 by Eden Lepucki. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. This is about a lady that I think her name is actually Lady. Yeah. But she separates from her husband and she needs help taking care of her toddler son. So she hires this girl named S, and very rapidly S kind of draws this family in by her charm and how well she does her job. S is not who she seems. And the more that Lady and S get to know each other, the more Lady gets kind of intertwined into all the things that S is hiding from the family. I've literally never heard of this book. I've literally never heard of this author. I was just intrigued by the spine because it looks super cool and it was a couple dollars. So I said, why not? The next one is The Vanishing Year by Kate Moretti. This is about a girl that her name is Zoe, and she lives kind of the posh, perfect life. She lives in Manhattan with her Wall Street tycoon of a husband, driving fancy cars. She's part of the social elite. She's got it made. But what nobody knows is that 5 years ago, Zoe's life was in danger, and 5 years ago, Zoe wasn't actually Zoe at all. So this one sounds super intriguing. Again, never heard anybody talk about this book on booktube. I'm sure other people have discussed it and I just haven't found it yet, but really excited about this one. Again, a couple dollars. I couldn't say no. And then this one is You by Caroline Kepnes. This is about a guy that he falls in love with a girl, but she doesn't know it. It is all written in second person, I'm pretty sure, about this guy who is stalking a woman. I have tried to read this book in the past. I only got like 10 pages in. Hopefully I'm in a different mindset that I can enjoy this now. And I really want to watch the series. Like, I think it's on Netflix. So I really want to read this before I get to the series. Does it say Lifetime? Lifetime Netflix, same thing. This next one sounded super interesting, and so I kind of had to pick it up, and that is You Should Have Known by Jen Hanoff, that last name. And this is about a woman that she kind of lives her own version of a fairy tale. She's a loving husband. She's a pediatric oncologist, which is a mouthful. And she has a loving little boy. Her life just kind of, to her, seems perfect. But then, while she's in the middle of writing a book called You Should Have Known, which is about kind of chastising women as to why they don't trust the first impressions that they have when they meet a guy. Her life kind of falls apart. She has a missing husband, and in his place is just this whole string of events that she didn't know was going on. Pretty much sounding like maybe she needs to be chastising herself as well. Sounds really interesting. I believe it was $1.50 again. But this is a thick book, so I'm interested to see when I actually have time to read a book this big. And the last one is The Bat by Joe Nesbo. This is the first book in the Harry Hole series. He's an inspector. It is another Scandinavian thriller. I am so excited to get to this one because that means that I will be one book closer to one of Crime by the Book's favorite books, The Snowman. These books intrigue me. I don't really know much about this book. All that I know is that the Harry Hole series is phenomenally popular, and for some reason I have missed it all these years. I will finally be getting to it eventually, and this will be the first one that I pick up. How many books did you all get in February? Tell me down in the comments below because I would love to talk books with you all. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, where I will most likely be posting books as I get them and taking pretty pictures of them, hopefully, if Alyssa lets me. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!